You want to go to... Do you have keys?
Yeah, I got keys.
Open? Cool. Well,
Good morning, everybody.
Wait.
Yeah, we're doing our Saturday morning walk around. We got a special walk around this morning where we get a view of one of the condos, Seaside. And it's located right across from the Publix. And want to make sure that you can hear us loud and clear. Our walk around this morning is sponsored by Albert and Studio AD Architect. So just as you're jumping on here, another great day on Fort Myers Beach. You can see the sunrise over there. Want to make sure you can hear us okay, Gary? Can you hear the microphones? We are at the Seaside Condo building, and we're going to get a nice inside tour here with Gary, who is on the board.
Andy and Jamal.
Gary, I don't know. Oh, Gary, I was looking at Gary. Andy, tell everybody who you are and what your role is here at Seaside.
I'm on the board of directors. I actually live in Minnesota, but we come down every 2 to 3 weeks to kind of make sure things are going and fixing Jamal's mistakes. Jamal's with First On Site. That's the big head honcho contractor. Right. So they're really in charge of everything, the entire top to bottom. Right. Other than individual unit rebuilds. Every owner here is responsible for their own individual box out, cabinets, toilets, things of that nature.
So how many units you said?
We have 50 units here. So Seaside was built in late 70s. I think it was 78. 50 units, 6 floors. First floor obviously is parking underneath the building. Looking at the structure, our water line was at the first floor units, right about the mid height where the railing is.
Yeah.
So that was our water. So every one of those first floor units, everything got pushed from beach out to the Estero side. So there was mattresses, couches kind of pinned through those doors. Everything was peeling out in the days and weeks after the storm.
So how about we walk around the back and see how it's... You guys are obviously right on the beach here, so you're saying the storm surge came up to the railing.
Correct.
So how did the roof hold up?
The roof was gone.
Okay. The answer to that would be it didn't hold up.
It didn't hold up, no. And I know we actually had you get involved when our temporary roof went on. I think that lasted approximately 8 months.
I remember that now, wow.
And the first tropical storm we had in 55 mile an hour, it peeled the temp roof off and did more damage to the front side of the building. But we were having problems getting permitting.
Right.
And I think we reached out to you, we reached out to the mayor.
Yep.
And lo and behold, the reason we could not get the real roof permit was because we had a temp roof. So once the temp roof was peeled off, within 6 hours, we had a permit for the real roof. So it was almost a blessing in disguise.
But the damage up there, obviously on the roof, came through to all the other units, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So we were probably about a month after the hurricane, and I'd say 90% of them were still dry. Obviously, 5th floor was soaking wet. So the floors and the ceilings, 1 through 4, are concrete. So you're not going to have any water dripping. It was just kind of coming down the sides of the block.
Yeah.
But after the monsoon started, everything just kind of got more wet and more moldy. So I would say 3 to 4 months after hurricane, every unit had to be gutted and everything had to be thrown away.
So nothing, you couldn't save anything after Ian?
No.
Everything was gone?
Everything was junk, yep.
So how did you guys do with your insurance?
We're still working on that.
You gotta be kidding me.
Wind is... We did hire a...
public adjuster?
Yep. And he's done a good job. Wind, I think we're doing okay on. Flood is the piece of the puzzle where we still don't have answers.
But you had flood insurance.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So are they trying to say it was wind damage and not flooding? Is that usually that's what the argument is? Or how could you still be fighting them this almost a year and a half later?
Well, we're waiting. All the information's been submitted, and it's just a waiting game trying to get paid. And we don't know really if, let's say, I don't even know the number. If we submitted $500,000 on flood. I don't know if we're going to get $100,000 or they're going to come back and say, all right, the full 500.
What's the explanation about why they're taking so long to give you an answer?
These things take time. That is what Ryan keeps telling us at our board meetings. That's our public adjuster. And I think everybody's in the same boat, you know? I mean, it's not just us, especially with flood. I've been hearing a lot of people are having problems on the flood side.
At what point do you get an attorney involved?
I don't know. That's a question for our attorney. Hopefully we don't have to, because obviously that's
money.
It's going to cost everybody more money here. And, you know, there's so many pieces to the puzzle here.
Have you had to hit anyone with an assessment yet?
Yes. Yep, we did have one last year. I don't know what that was, 27, I think, for every owner. They'll probably, don't quote me on that, but There'll probably have to be another one this year. But until we get that piece of the puzzle, the flood, we don't know, you know. You know, there's so many moving pieces. We got flood from where we're standing to that concrete beam.
Yeah.
So this is all flood, everything else is wind. Well, I mean, you start taking a look down here, and this actually looks pretty good. In the days and weeks after the hurricane, every one of these clips, there was pipes and fire pumps and low voltage, and it was, you couldn't even walk through here. It was such a mess.
I'm sorry, you said this looks pretty good.
It does. I know, right? Imagine that. So yeah, they're redoing all our electrical now.
So what are you paying for this work with?
Wind.
Okay, you're paying for this work with wind insurance money.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, any proceeds we get in, we're just divvying out as needed.
Did you get any government help? Any FEMA help?
No.
Or, okay.
No. It was after the fact that we found out there were programs. You know, none of us really had been through.
Sure.
A couple of the board members had been through Charlie, but Charlie was, it was a light drizzle compared to what we had here, you know.
And this, when it's all done, this is basically the parking structure.
Yep,
right?
parking structure. There are some rooms here, waterproof rooms now. That's one thing that they're going to require us to do now with, like, they call it a submarine door. So if a surge does come up, it'll protect where all those pipes are coming there. That's all of our electrical panels. So there'll be a room here. We actually have a lobby glass enclosure because that's the elevator. There's a room down there. We can walk down this way.
You're just tuning in, folks. We're at the Seaside Condos. They're across from Publix, and not a bad view of the beach once everything's said and done. Why no pool here? I mean, I don't think I've been to one of the buildings without a pool.
Well,
just one of those things where you do have a pool.
Keep on walking, yeah.
Sorry.
So that was one thing we actually managed to salvage.
The pool.
Out of the deal, yep. After the hurricane, obviously it was full of debris. We had it cleaned out, put some water in there, and then about 6 months later, we came back and it was looking pretty bad again. So we had it acid washed, and we'll take a walk over there. And we had the pool guys come in. They said, it's holding water, you're fine. We did have pretty gusty winds on, I believe it was Wednesday night, so there's some stuff in there. But yep, we hired our pool service, temp filters.
How crazy
They'll come vacuum and skim once a week. But yeah, we need a little bit of coping out here. So typically at this site here, so that's our office building. So here at Seaside, we have an on-site management for all the rentals, and we staff someone 8 hours a day in the office for problems, check-ins, check-outs. Underneath over by the doorway there, that's like a shaded area, and typically when this is all up and running, over to the right we have a like 12-foot with barbecue grills. If I'm walking out here where the little flags are over here, that's a tiki hut.
Well, where did all that stuff wind up?
Your backyard. With the cars and the boats. And
there was a couple of houses on Estero that are no longer there. I imagine some of your stuff was in there.
Oh yeah, air conditioning, yeah. In terms,
you got all new glass in already. The glass is in.
Yep, they're just finishing up first floor windows and doors. We can actually, we'll take a walk up there, show you one of the units here.
Are you going to redo everything here at the bar eventually with the barbecue stuff and the tiki hut? I mean, I know all that's permit stuff, but toward the end. But are you planning to put it back the way it was as best you can?
Absolutely. Actually, as of now, I believe every contractor that we need, we're locked in. We're locked in with the paver guys. They've already run some electrical and plumbing out to our pool equipment. Fencing is all, everybody's ready to come. So whenever these guys, FOS, says go time, they'll be coming in and, yep, so.
Lori wants to know who your pool service is.
Neptune.
Okay.
Neptune Pools.
Okay.
Yep. And they're doing a good job.
Are you going to keep this old person shuffleboard thing, or are you going to put some pickleball in?
Hey, I like the shuffleboard.
Come on,
I like the
shuffleboard
shuffleboard. I know there's no room for pickleball here, but if we could, I would. I would.
Sure. Now these houses next door held up pretty nice. I mean, they obviously built to code.
They did
a little more modern, but they look great right now. These two houses.
And I think those were built in 2010 to 2017-ish. But they did, yeah. They held up very well.
Mary says her complex still has no answers from insurance.
Really?
It's 2 special assessments. So I mean, if I were able to add up all the assessments from all the condos down in this island, it would be crazy. It would be in probably the tens of millions, I'm guessing, at this point. Maybe
Absolutely.
not that high, but it would be a lot of unexpected expenses from the storm that people have had to pay out, probably will be paying out for a long time.
Well, and that's something you don't, as a property owner.
Never expect it.
Well, and I didn't know, you'd think the pavers would be included on insurance. The pool. All of our pool, the equipment that was out here, you know.
Nothing covered.
Fencing, nope. So this is all homeowners. Yeah. So when we're talking special assessments, your pavers, your fence, the heater, the pumps.
How are you doing on permitting now with the town, with the changes they made? Be honest.
Pretty good.
Good.
There's been a couple snafus. Watch your step here. We're gonna head up the steps. Go check out a unit. Overall good. I wish there was a little more attention to detail. For instance, we're having a Seminole Indian local tribe, build the tiki. No permitting required, right?
Right.
Well, I think the first review that we got back, and there was an affidavit saying there's going to be no power, and I think the refusal we got was, where are your condensers going to be?
Condensers?
Air conditioning.
Okay.
On the tiki hut.
Okay.
Well, yeah. It's almost mind-boggling. You know, flip a page, and there's an affidavit saying there's no power.
I see.
Why are you saying no and asking where the condensers are going to be? It just... And I don't know if they just have too much on their plate, and they just, all right, nope, that one's gone. You know, on to the next. But we did get that figured out. We do have the permit for that, and I do believe he'll be starting that the first week of April.
Very nice.
So all these units, they're 2-bedroom, 2-bath. Mm-hmm. They're all the same layout. So typically, you walk in, little kitchen here, full kitchen. Dining table, living room. The lanai, gorgeous views. I think that's why all of our returning guests want to keep returning. You know, it's just.
So this isn't, you don't own units. Well, you own units, but you rent them out. Is that
Correct.
how it works?
Yep. So everyone is privately owned by family, LLC, whoever it is. And they put it into either VRBO, Airbnb, or I think almost 45 of our units use the on-site management company.
What is a typical week get you here? It doesn't get much better than that view. Pre-storm,
I think we were around that, again, don't quote me, 3:30 a night?
3:30 a night?
Somewhere in there, yeah. Now, the landscape's changed. I don't know what that's going to be once we reopen, you know. I mean, you look down the beach, how many of these places like us, they're gone.
Right.
Or they're going to London down there, you know,
London
starting
Bay.
at 3 million or whatever the heck they are.
Oh, I see. Gulfside 12, I think, is like 4 million or something. But I think they're selling them like as homes. But who knows? I mean, I don't know. Maybe they will rent them as well. But so you have, now I forgot what I was going to ask you. You have, how long before you think you'll be open? Back open? When is everything going to be done?
Jamal?
I'm hoping as soon as possible. I'm hoping as soon as possible, but the rough construction should be finished around June. Finished with the drywall and everything. And then from then just be the interior designing portion of that phase, and we'll see how long that lasts.
So every unit looks like this right now?
Yeah.
Because why? Because the water damage, the wind damage, or just...
Roof being gone, when the water started coming down the walls from all the way up, it just, protruded in. 2 months after, we had a tan couch in there, and you walked in, and it was bright green. I mean, the fuzz was that thick. Everything had to be discarded, really.
Because of the possibility of mold or...
Absolutely, yep. Well, and I think they did, and I don't know if they're going to do it again, but they did some sort of almost chemical treatment on any of the studs that remained in here. And the concrete and the wood. Obviously, all this is new. All your tack strips are sheetrock. Right. So everything you see in here, well, and electrical's done here, everything's new. I mean, all the old electrical was all corroded from salt water, I mean, the water in this unit would have been up to here on us.
No way.
And the waves were to the ceiling, just pushing it all. Yeah. So everything you see is new. So when we do open, the only blessing about this is every one of our units will be new construction, and that's huge. So these we're pushing 50 years old here.
From the 70s, yes.
Yep.
It might have been time for, not that way, but...
Right, a refresh. And a lot of them, I'd say 90% of them were updated, but now, I mean, yeah, it's going to be pretty awesome.
At the end of the day, what do you think the financial bottom number will be when this is done?
Per owner?
No, a total project, like the whole redo is going to cost about how much? Ballpark.
Boy. It's hard to even guesstimate.
A couple million?
15?
Wow. And so you're hoping to get how much back from insurance if they actually came through for you?
Well, it'd be great to get it all, but we know that's not going to happen. Like I said, I mean, we already know I think we're in $500,000 or $400,000 just on uninsured pavers, fencing, pool equipment, electrical lines, plumbing lines run out to the beach steps for your foot wash.
Right.
All those little things, they add up very quickly. But in the grand scheme of things, I hear about some of these other, you look at South Point down here, and I heard now it's all hearsay, I'm watching on Beach Talk Radio and people commenting, but I think it's going to be a while for some of these places to open, and their assessments are going to be big.
When you first showed up the first time and saw what you saw, what did you think?
Oh, I can't really say it right now. It was disbelief. And my face had to have shown something, because I went downstairs and I sat down on the curb, and some dude came walking over I was just dripping wet, sweating, and he handed down, he's like, "It'll be okay, dude," and he handed me a bottle of water. And I just kind of looked up. It was almost a blur, like a dream. It was just, everywhere you looked, just rubble, and it's not a good feeling. It was tough.
Where did you stay? Did you stay on the island? Or
No.
Did everybody get out of the building before the storm?
I think we had one set of owners left that tried to ride it out, and they were on 5th floor, and the roof peeled off, and the cell phones were still working, and I believe they were older folks, and they called our management company, and they said, "The roof's gone, what do we do?" They said, "Go find an open room or try to break in and just ride it out." But they were okay. They got out of here.
Wow.
But imagine that,
Yeah.
And by then, everything flooded high down there where the water just kept coming up and coming up. Yeah, it wasn't never want to go through that again.
So how soon after the storm did you get back on the island? Because it was a cluster back then, trying to get on and trying to get through the sand and debris from... It
was. The day they opened the bridge, I showed up the next day to try to get in here. And then I actually hired my realtor friend down here from Naples, and they came in and salvaged what they could out of our unit, end tables, stuff.
You took them Where?
Storage unit.
Okay.
Yep, over in Estero.
And you're probably thinking, throwing that shit out now, right? I mean,
Yeah.
is anything salvageable? In
There was.
like
You know, we had just redone all of our stuff. So, I mean, appliances, 8 weeks old. I mean, everything in there was brand new. So that was the first thing was, let's get it out. But even back then, looking for a storage unit, it was crazy.
Yeah.
We were calling everywhere. Yep. Yep.
So you're on the island. At what point do you start the work? Like, who do you call first? And you've never been through something like that, and all of a sudden you have to figure out who to call, and who's the first call you make?
They end up, so I wasn't on the board at that time, but they called some of these national restoration companies like FOS, and I think the first one they called was a company called Rapid Response.
Okay.
And they hired them to come in, take care of, we're on first floor, like I said, the waves were coming through here to gut all these units and clean up the parking lot.
Yeah.
But then that wasn't going very well after about 3 weeks. So we ended up terminating, stopping all work with them, and that's when we found First On Site.
Okay. What is the first job that you guys, you just still cleaning up back then, I guess, right? I mean, how long ago was this?
I've been here since January, so I'm not too sure. I was here with the first process when this first
I think
started.
it was December that you guys came in. December,
Okay.
right around there, right after.
22?
Oh, no. Yeah, yeah.
So wow, they've been working on this building for over a year.
Yeah, well, you got to remember, though, we didn't get our permit until August of last year when the temp roof went.
So there was not a lot to do until you couldn't do anything.
Couldn't do anything, no. It was
How
just,
do you, I mean, you're working on every single floor, right? How
Yeah.
do you determine whether you're below the 50% rule?
that was appraisal. Luckily, the appraisal came back. Luckily, we were sound. I mean, structurally.
Yeah.
So the walls all downstairs that were meant to break out, they broke out.
Even though, okay, so you had to redo that at some point. If this building was built in the 70s, that breakout wall, you didn't need breakout walls in the 70s, did you? Or
I believe those might have been put in after the fact.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we have bathrooms down there, electrical rooms, bike storage rooms. So all those broke out. So the integrity of the actual structure was 100. It was solid,
Yeah.
and that's what saved us.
What was the appraisal?
I don't remember. It was more than enough, though. I mean,
So
we
you didn't have to
weren't.
worry about the
No,
50% rule.
no,
Gotcha.
no, no,
Gotcha.
no, no.
What can you tell other condo owners or board members about the processes that you've been going through to at least get to this point where you're hoping to be open again by the fall or the winter, which is 2 years?
Be persistent. It's, in reality, public adjuster, and it's all about your contractor.
Yeah.
I mean, all of us coming in from Minnesota and Michigan and Ohio.
Or you're not living here full time.
No.
You're communicating on the phone or visiting once in a while, and
Yeah,
that can't be easy.
Zoom meetings, and we don't know. I mean, none of us had ever been through something like this, so it's who you hire.
What could you tell some of the other condo board members about getting back open? I mean, there's so many still closed. Most of them are still closed.
Yeah.
And I don't know if, I think it's probably 50-50, insurance problem or permitting problem. Now, I have heard, again, I'll hearsay, that the permitting has gotten a little bit better.
Inspector, yeah.
But if you don't have the money, I mean, you're just you're SOL, I mean, you can't do anything without that check.
Right.
And that's the tough part.
Right.
And it can be never-ending assessments,
Who's the public adjuster that you guys hired?
Ryan, and I believe, I don't know his last name.
Okay.
I think he's
Okay.
with Sill.
Okay.
That's his company. But they've been doing a very good job.
How many workers do you have working on the building?
Roughly a day, I'd say around 20 workers a day.
Okay.
Yeah, electricians, we got HVAC workers, we got plumbers, we got roofers, carpenters, so it's nonstop.
How is it getting supplies, and how the cost of supplies to rebuild?
It's expensive, but we're getting it done. We're getting the supplies as needed.
And do you need an elevator?
We do.
Do you have an elevator?
Working? No. We can go up there.
When you get the elevator, can the library borrow it?
Right? Well, and I think the big thing we're fighting with the elevator right now is they won't come in because we don't have power. Well, they need, obviously, to work on that. They need their power, and it has something to do with single phase versus 3-phase. Interesting story, actually.
Yeah.
We were just getting a brand new elevator right before the hurricane, and they were 2 days away.
No way.
And that company left their 40-foot trailer sitting right here with their truck, and they didn't put the elevator up. So it was brand new, never used. Well, look at it's still on the door.
Wow. But
so now we're waiting on power.
Because it was on the ground floor, it's ruined, right?
Yep. Well, and there's a piston down there. You know, it's just everything was just trashed.
Crazy.
Concrete in the pit, and actually we just got that cleaned out. What, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Sucked all the old water out of there.
If they would have put the elevator up, I'm guessing the equipment would have still been ruined on the bottom.
The equipment, but I'm betting the box would have been okay, and the electrical within the box, you know. But yeah, they lost everything. That company, you know, all their equipment out there, their vehicle.
Okay.
But until we get power, now we actually thought they were going to be here on February 1st.
Are you waiting for FPL? Is that what the deal is, or
No, we're waiting on
phase three power.
a big panel. So it'll come from transformer into this panel, and then going out of this panel, it supplies 50 meters and the association meter for power for exterior lighting, fuel pumps for the pools, elevator. But that big panel was a 52-week wait. I think that's what we just heard.
52 weeks.
Yep.
And for those of you watching, that's a year.
That is a year.
It's crazy.
So now we're looking for temporary solutions so these guys can get in here. Because we need that. I mean, just imagine doing some of these units and you're bringing up granite slabs, trying to come up the stairwell, or appliances, or, you know.
Man, it is an awesome view, though. I mean, and you own, obviously, you guys own to the high tide water line or whatever it is, and so.
Yep, that. So we did sign with the town of Fort Myers Beach for that berm.
Yep.
So typically, if you can see, there's a seawall over there. We actually have a seawall, but when they did the berm, that first storm came in and it pushed it all. Typically, the sand would not be up in our grass. Mm-hmm. Normally, this is beautifully manicured and landscaped, and there's 40 or 50 loungers out here.
Okay.
But all that sand, I don't know how that's going to work. I know I called after that happened and asked Chad, well, who's responsible for putting the sand back on the beach? And he said, you can't put it back on the beach. Now you have to pull a permit, get trucks in here, you have to sift it.
Because is this part of that sand from the beach berm?
No.
So
just out in the grass here, yeah. Typically, there would be a very distinct line from the seawall down to the beach.
There's somewhere there's a seawall right on the other side of the grass, and you can't really see the berm. The berm was higher, but it did its job, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
That's what they say it did its job.
Right. That's typically what it would be. Yeah. I actually think theirs washed away. It collapsed in the hurricane, and that's a new seawall.
Seawall?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. It was all washed out. Probably a 12-foot gully behind it. The good thing about the berm was, even ours, I mean, we had 10 feet. It was a 10-foot drop there where it took all that sand out. But the berm kind of fixed it all up for us.
Well, I mean, you're in a great location, too. The Publix is right across the street within, walking distance, obviously. And the beach is so nice right here. It's a nice, long beach. So you're thinking?
We're hoping November 1st. That's the date in my head.
Yeah.
If they start sheetrocking these units in, let's say, 6 weeks, every unit owner is responsible for putting, appliances, countertops, cabinets, toilets, retiling everything. We're hoping maybe up to half of them could be done by that November 1st, if not November, December.
How long do the owners, when they come down, how long do they stay for?
Some will come in for 2 days, some will stay for all summer, I mean, there's a few that'll be here 6-8 months.
Okay. How's the sunset?
Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Where's your unit?
We're in 407. We're on 4th floor.
Awesome.
So we just did create a new social media page.
Okay.
We parted ways with our old management company very recently, and we didn't have access to our old Facebook page. So we created a new one. It's Seaside Resort, Fort Myers Beach. Check it out.
It's on Facebook?
Correct.
Seaside Resort, Fort Myers Beach.
Yep.
If somebody could type that in the chat box, that'd be great, and we'll share it on our Facebook page. I'm guessing you can watch the progress of how things are coming along. On
Absolutely.
The page
Yep.
with
Updates
pictures
whenever
and
I come
things.
down.
Great.
Put new pictures, updates, and whenever we do have an opening date, that's the biggest question I get. Every time I come here, there's people that have stayed here
Sure.
10, 20, 30 years
Sure.
ago. Their kids have grown up here, and they're, when can we get our week back? When can we
Yeah.
come? We want to come for 3 months, January, February. So that is going to be the place to get any future updates on opening, booking, new management companies. But rest assured, I know that some people they really like our on-site management. That's going to stay. So whoever we go with in the future will always have that 8 hours a day. There'll be a friendly face up there in case your toilet's leaking or just need somebody to chat to.
Right. And are any of these units for sale?
There might be one on
That's
second
one
floor.
out of 55.
Right?
Wow.
Yep. And I don't know, I'd have to talk
Yeah.
to her about that, but yeah, they're a little tougher to come by.
Now, when you open, I'm guessing this is going to be a big ribbon cutting, and you'll have us back to show us off all
Absolutely.
the rooms so we can compare
Absolutely.
what we're looking at now.
DJ at the pool,
Nice.
food trucks in the parking lot.
Yeah. Make sure you get a permit for those.
Right? Right?
Well, Andy, thanks so much. I appreciate your time, and look forward to coming back November 1st for the big ribbon cutting.
Awesome.
Thanks
Thank
a
you.
lot, man.
We appreciate it.
Thank you all for tuning in, and we will be live at Margaritaville at 11 o'clock, and we'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.